Right, hello and welcome to the beautiful group. Welcome to Isma, Malik, and everybody knows her as Walaikum Assalam, as the resilient parent coach, the parent coach, I always say. Welcome to the group, and today we're discussing coaching, FAQs, Q&As, something we've been asked to do for absolutely ages.
Yeah,
we've had
it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah,
I think we always get a lot of questions around it, and I think there's a lot of things that we could clear up, inshallah, today. I have lots of questions that people have asked.
Cool.
So do you want to start?
I was going to say, the first question is what is coaching, and what do you get from it? Like, how does it work?
Coaching's really tailored to each individual person, and when they come to you, like for example, me being a parent coach, when they come to me, we have what they feel they need support with, and in the conversation, as you ask the questions, things come out which also need addressing. So it's very tailored to the person who is needing the support.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time it's about where that person is in particular.
Yeah.
And where they want to be, which again is a very personal journey and a very one of that they need. Does that make sense? So a lot of the time it's not a one plan fits all. It's more with the person that you're working with and what they need. Like in my example, it would be with children and them and the parent themselves. So I usually tend to break down the goals and where they are and where they want to be in the end. And obviously, as the journey goes on, that can also change.
Yeah.
It's not a set in stone journey, but it gives you a guideline of what they're thinking, where they're at, and where they particularly want to reach. So it's a very tailored journey to suit that person's needs.
Yeah. So if I was to come to you coaching, I'm guessing lots of different parents come to you for coaching, and they'll all have different problems. It won't be the same, so therefore you don't take them through the exact same steps.
No.
Okay, fantastic.
So when it's with parents, a lot of the obviously, because children's ages are different, their living environments are different, and that has to all be taken into consideration when you're working with the client. And obviously the children's needs, they might have additional needs, they might be ahead of their learning journeys. So really it's really tailored to, in my case, it's tailored to the child and the parent.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it. That's what really drew me to coaching as well. I think it's the flexibility of working individually.
Yeah, it's like going to like a fitness person or a nutritionist or a dietitian, and
you work from your goal.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, actually I'm allergic to this, and this.
Yeah.
And they'll give you a food plan and say, this is what will be really good for you.
Yeah.
And it's all the food you love eating anyway, so it's just like it just fits perfectly into what you
that's perfectly, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. And I think, like I said, it's a journey of change too. So as we know ourselves through our own coaching journeys, other things come up, and those things need to be dealt with. So alongside what we set initially, they will also be dealt with. And I think a lot of the time, in my experience of my coaching and being a coach, I think you come out with a lot more than you even thought you would. Because the goal that you always want, if it's broken down, there's lots of other goals that come off it. And I think that is the amazing thing that I love about coaching, is that the flexibility of it, of working with that individual.
You kind of go to coaching for, like you said, for one thing, and it's almost like you resolve so many other things. you just, that unmasks so many layers, and that is the amazing part of it.
Definitely. And I think that's how it works. And I think a lot of the time, everybody's goals are personal.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be at a different place in their life. And I think that is what is amazing, that we work according to that person's goal and want.
Yeah. And I was talking about this earlier because we were doing a like daily habits video in this group earlier. And I was just talking about how everybody's commitments, everybody's different. No two people are the same, so everybody's got different things that they need to take into consideration with creating their daily habits and routines and stuff. But it's very much like, and I think that is, like you said, it's the best. It's not like there's a set program and this is all we're going to do. This is a dose of medication you're going to take, and that if it doesn't work, it don't work, and if it does work, very good for you. It all, like, and I always say this, I've got 100% success rate and you have too, and that's only because, alhamdulillah, that we are able to work with people and structure things according to their needs, isn't it?
And I think going with the client and going at what they need, and coaching isn't giving advice, it's not telling that person what to do, it's actually setting them up for, if that problem was to occur and they weren't having coaching, they could still deal with it. So that process for everybody to get to is different. And I think when you work through this layer by layer, it's like an onion, isn't it? I think that's probably the best way to describe it. You're peeling an onion. And when you peel the layers, when you get to the root, it does resolve. Even if that thing was to come up again in 5 years' time, you would have the tools to deal with it.
That's the phenomenal thing, I think.
And that's the amazing thing. And that's why it's so tailored, because how you deal with it, how you learn, how you see things, your vision of your life is different for everyone. So you can't really tailor it as one package and here set by it, you know? It has to be tailored. And that's what coaching is. It's a tailored program to what you need. And having someone work with you through those things.
Fantastic.
So somebody asked me, how does it work? How does the process work? So what is the process and how do you get to the how of it?
I'm gonna do a science. This is the science bit. I'm gonna do the scientific.
You're the science geek.
Do the science bit first. So the key to coaching is to really just light up new neural pathways. A lot of the times when we're in sessions with clients, the clients are like, oh, can't you just tell me what I need to know? And it's not about telling you what to do. It's not about directing you, that you should say, okay, from my experience, this is what you need to do. It's actually lighting up your neural pathways and your neural networks to do what you think is actually in your best interest. And basically, through the different modalities that we use in coaching, because there's a number of modalities that we both use, isn't there? And this is what a lot of people aren't aware of. There's literally a toolkit of amazing things that we use in our practice. But through that, we are able to help clients to get to their end point, and that is the key. It all comes about, like, with tasking, which we're going to come on to in a minute, but the in-session work is really just about you showing up, and I think that's what's key. We spoke about this before as well. Showing up is key to your session because there's so much work to be done. And I know a lot of clients have just come out of sessions and gone, all you did was ask me some questions, but then why do you feel differently after your session? What's changed? I think
what's really important to mention here is that you can only deal with the problems that you bring to us. If it's a relationship of honesty and confidentiality, and it's a relationship of what you, and I always say this to my clients, if you go to a doctor with foot pain, he's not going to check your ear. So you have to tell him that you've got an earache, or your ear's hurting, or something's affecting where he knows that's linked to the ear, to check the ear. And I think a lot of the time there's a lot of confusion on how it's done, but actually there has to be a relationship of honesty. And there has to be a relationship of, there's no judgment. We've had our own journeys and we have various clients. So I think you get to that point where actually it's not about phasing. It's not about being judged. It's not about, it's a relationship of, I need this result. I want this result. What do I need to do? These are my problems.
Yeah.
And I think that honesty is really important in order for those modalities to work.
Yeah.
And for you to get the best result, it is a relationship of openness.
Yeah. And I think the key is to that we encourage that, again, in sessions, it's a very non-judgmental, safe space. And I've always had that great feedback from clients, and I know that you have as well. It is really a space where you can just say what you want, be who you are, and actually say, look, I'm bringing this to the table. How can you help me? And it's not about what we want to do for you, it's about how you want to do things differently.
What do you want out of it?
What do you want to change? So that's really important. So what you know, a really, really popular question in actually the discovery calls that I have is oh God, you're gonna set me homework, what does that mean? It's a really funny question. It makes me laugh.
I get that a lot actually as well. I thought I was past the homework days. I get that a lot as well.
What can you tell us about what we said?
I think tasking is a major part of your journey, and tasking, number one, is about your commitment, about how much you want it, and tasking is the embedding of what we have done in session. They're not random tasks that we just pick out of thin air and think, oh yeah, that'll be good for her. Let's just give her that one because I can't be bothered today. It is about what happened in session, what you need in order to make that change, and those tasks are then set according. Again, we don't have a list of tasks where we just pick things and put them into an email. They're also personalized, they're also structured, and they're also for you to grow, because that's what coaching is in the essence of everything. It's growing into your ideal self, and to create that, tasking is a major part of it. It's not homework where you sit for 30 minutes every day and fill out, some questions. It's questions are set for the mind to make those changes. And sometimes you just need the one task. Like I've had times where I just get one task, and actually when I get it, I think, is that it? Literally, is that it? Oh, that's easy, I can do that. But actually when I'm doing it and I'm conscious of it, I can see the change. And you have these like aha moments and you think, okay, that's why I got that task. And I think tasking, it's really important that it's understood that it's part of the medicine. You can't have an operation and get up and just go. You have to heal, you have to go through the process, you have to have your checkup appointments, you have to, it is something that you commit to doing in order for that change, in order for the next session to happen fully. The tasking needs to be done. And some weeks it's simple stuff, some weeks it's challenging for you to challenge you in order for you to grow. So it really just depends. I think tasking is one of those things which it is overlooked a lot, and it really shouldn't be, because it's where most of the magic happens.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree.
And if you stick to your tasking, you will see phenomenal changes in your journey. Literally, if you stick to your tasking, you will see amazing changes in your journey.
I mean, I love the modalities that we use in sessions. Somebody's asked, what modalities do you both use, if you don't mind me asking? There's a whole array, a whole rainbow. I have to message you.
I showed you the folder.
It's big. I've actually got
that we have to study.
but there's others as well, like there's obviously the love languages and temperaments and stuff like that we incorporate. There's lots of extra stuff aside of the stuff that we've already studied. So there's a number, but you know, I think what's key is understanding that the tasking, if that's done right, what you've done in the session is just, like you said, it's embedded. It's
if it's done right, and if you're committed to it. You will get things wrong, you know, we're human, but it's commitment. It's doing it. And I always say this to my clients, it's taking that action over whatever you think of it. It's the doing of it, and being conscious of it. And some tasks are to be conscious, to be aware, you know, but just having that in you, you will see the changes.
Sometimes even being consciously aware on the tasking that's been set is the biggest. The
tasking is just it's everything and more. Like it really is. It's so tailored to your session that you have to do it in order to grow. Absolutely. And it's not homework. It's not. Some tasks are sitting down and for 5-10 minutes and doing stuff, but it's how you see it. If you see it as an important, it's like, you know, like you said, going to the gym and eating. If you go to the gym and you go to McDonald's 10 times a day, you have to start eating healthy in order to see the changes. The tasking is the eating part.
It's what you do in the exactly.
It's what you're doing.
Session. 100%. So next question is, how has coaching helped you? How has it helped you in your personal journey?
How long have you got?
Half an hour.
Oh my God, where do I start? It has.
You to summarize it in a nutshell, what would you say?
It has changed me for the better, for myself, for my family, for me as a person, the way I see the world, the way I see my life, the way I look at things. I don't think I could sum it up in a sentence. It has, in my life, I think it's the best decision I made. And I do not say that lightly. I think it is the best decision that I made for myself in my life.
Wow. You've made a lot of good decisions as well, so that's kind of big
because I think if I could turn back time and I could do this when I was, and I said this to you a couple of days ago, I think, when I was 15, 16, I think I would go back and do it, because I think there is no words, and hats off to my coach for the sobriety that she has, but it has transformed my life. Sure. It's making me emotional. Like, honestly, it has absolutely. There is not a price, not a value that I could put on it. There isn't. There really isn't a price I could put on it, because I've done psychology. Like, my background is in psychology. So, like you said, for me to say this, I know it's big, but it has absolutely transformed me. I think it's saved my life. I think it's transformed my life, and I think it's made me a better person for me and for everybody around me. How about you?
Well, because of you, it's also transformed my life, because as a lot of the people that are in this group know, I obviously got my door into coaching through you. It was the change that I'd seen in you that was like, it was phenomenal. Like, I don't think I was even aware that you were having coaching at that point, but in a couple of months it was phenomenal. And as a result of that, it definitely has, like I was asked to share a story about how I used to be to how I am now, and I struggled to remember. I struggle to remember how bad it was, because I feel like I've come so far from that now. And it's really funny because I was sharing in the group how, like, I didn't used to be confident in live videos, and you know how I always used to be complaining about money, about relationships, about everything, and everything is so much better. And I wouldn't even say better, it's at its peak.
And we're not in different environments.
No, I'm still where I was.
We're not around different people.
Yeah.
It's so hard to, like, we're not physically, it's nothing else. It's us and our world and how we see it and how we are with our families, children. It's everything. It's absolutely, I don't think there's a price that I could put on what it's done for me.
Same.
And how it's helped me. Because I was in a really dark place. And I think not just emotionally though, I think in every way. I don't think it's just an emotional change. I think it's mentally, it's physically, it's how you see yourself.
Yeah.
Your childhood. It's everything. Honestly, it's everything.
So
I could talk about just this one thing.
Yeah.
For a whole session.
We might need to do a part 2 for that.
But it yeah.
But like let's talk about the wheel of life, because that kind of fits in quite nicely now.
Yeah.
How has your, because I'm guessing you went to coaching for one area, right? One area on the wheel of life. For those of you that don't know, let's explain what the wheel of life is.
So it's a wheel. It's a wheel, and it's got all the different areas of your life that your life consists of. So your religion, your family, your career, your finances, yourself, your social life, your financial life, every aspect, your children, like your extended family. So every aspect of your life is covered on that wheel, so to speak, which is what coaching deals with. And I think for me, I came with one thing, and that's all I wanted sorted. Like, and that's what we said at the beginning. That's all I wanted sorting. That's all I wanted support with. I didn't really want anything else, because nothing else was an issue. And my focus was fully on this one problem. And that was it. But actually, in that cycle, you deal with everything. And that's what coaching does. And that's why there's probably the many submodalities, can't never say that word, that we use, because it deals with absolutely everything, from birth to literally where you are now.
Pre-birth is all right.
And pre-birth and the future. So really it covers everything. And I think the wheel of life, I like using it because clients can then see it. And it's a visual that they can see and actually have. I get my clients to put a number on each one where they think they are in their life. And at the end, I've had one client who everything was before even 3, like it was 1 and 2. And we just finished, and she's like, is there a number higher than 10? And I'm like, you can put the number you want. So it's really about understanding that one area affects many other areas. And that's in coaching, it unpicks all of that.
And if you're having a problem in one area, it's probably the same problem that you're having in other areas.
It's like when you have, I always say to my clients, if you've got knee pain, it will eventually start to affect your hip. It will eventually start to affect your back.
100%.
You will start getting neck pains from it, and it all started within the knee. So really it works on everything. Alhamdulillah. So I had a question.
Sure.
How does it work? Not what you use, but kind of what are the effects of it, and how do you get the impact? So what we talked about earlier is coaching really stretches you.
Oh yes.
and it takes you out of a comfort zone, but it's done at your pace too. It's not, okay, you've walked a mile, now go and climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
it's done stage by stage, but each stage will make you think and see things differently.
Yeah. So often clients get scared, don't they? Because they're like, oh, you're going to get me out of my comfort zone. What does that mean? It just means we're going to stretch your thinking a little bit, and you've not thought this way.
That's done in session too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's done in session. That's not something that's done on your own.
Yeah.
And it's done in session, and it's done in your tasking.
Yeah.
Which is why they work hand in hand together, because the stretching is done throughout.
Yeah. And the problem is, I think so many of us, we're so used to not stretching ourselves, we're so used to keeping ourselves in a comfort zone, that when we start to do it, it feels a little bit painful, and we almost like resist it, because actually this feels really uncomfortable, and this is not as easy as what I thought it was going to be. But it's not that it's not easy, it's just it's less easy. It's just slightly, we're just going to push you slightly out of your comfort zone, so then you can get the best benefit and the best impact, and get to the place. The reason that you're not at the place that you want to be is because you've been doing things on rinse and repeat. That's not working. That's why you've come for coaching. So the key is to do something ever so slightly differently, just slightly out of your comfort zone, so you can get to a different space by doing something slightly different.
Yeah. And I think when you're comfortable, like you said, in any journey that you take, whether it's fitness, whether it's moving house, whether it's whatever it is, when you're comfortable, in order to reach where you want to be, that flexibility has to come into place.
Yeah.
And language plays a big part on this. And it's really how much you want it. And if the problem's big enough, you'll do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the tasking and the sessions come into play. That if you're present in session and you do the tasks, there's no reason that you can't get the result, or you won't get the result.
Yeah.
And that's what coaching does. It is there to stretch you each time. But it's done us bearing in mind where you are also.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think it's a very combined journey.
Yeah.
If you're not going to get uncomfortable, you're not going to progress in any area of your life. There's not going to be no progression.
Yeah.
If your children stay in year 1, how do you expect them to sit their GCSEs?
Yeah. Yeah. I always say when you set out to do a uni degree, you set out to do your GCSEs, A levels.
It's a process.
Yeah. What you work hard. It's not easy. It's not simple, but you know the process and you push yourself, because
and I think as women as well, like, our children need to see what growth is.
Yeah.
And really what we want so much from our children.
Yeah.
You know, we want so much change from them. Oh, he's not listening. Oh, he's not this. He's not that. Yeah. In order to get where he needs to get to, or she needs to get to, she needs to grow. But they learn that where? Where do they learn how to grow? Through us.
Yeah.
So we need to grow for ourselves first, because coaching is a journey for you. But also for them to learn how it's done.
Yeah.
And I did live on my Facebook just before this, that we want everything from our children.
Yeah.
But a lot of things that children are, and that we are as adults today, is learnt behavior.
Yeah.
And stepping out of your comfort zone takes you away from that learnt behavior. Like I said, if you want your children to do well in GCSEs, you're not going to say to the teacher, oh yeah, just keep him in year 2, it's fine.
Yeah.
He's going to have to go to year 3, 4, and 5, and 6 and onwards.
Yeah.
And each year stretches them.
Yeah.
In order to achieve their GCSEs. Because ultimately, what is secondary school? You know, so you have to teach your children the how. And if you're not doing it, then they won't learn it either.
Yeah, yeah. And yet we still have this expectation from them, don't we?
So. But we still want them to change.
Yeah. It's massive.
So growth is really, you're growing all the time. Even if you're in your feeling rubbish element, you're growing deeper and deeper into feeling rubbish.
Yeah.
It wasn't comfortable when it first happened.
No.
But being in it for so long, you're comfortable.
Yeah.
But it started off uncomfortable.
Yeah. But it's clearly not making you happy.
But it's not working.
Yeah.
So it's that quote somebody put up a couple of days ago. I saw it on my Facebook. Choose your easy. Choose your hard.
Yeah.
Staying unhappy is hard. Changing is hard.
Yeah.
Which one would you prefer? And I think that is what coaching is. It is pushing you out of your comfort zone. Let's not sugarcoat it. Like our coach does it even now.
Yeah.
Sometimes like we're like, what on earth is this? Yeah. But they see blind spots that we don't see. And that's why we have a coach.
Yeah. And I think that's the key. I think that's the next thing I actually want to talk about is why have a coach? You will not see your own issues most of the time. Most of the time we have a self-awareness that is high enough that helps us perhaps see other people's issues quite often.
Yeah.
And some of your own that you're comfortable in dealing with, but to really stretch you and to really get that self-development, you won't see, even I as a coach, for how long I've been a coach for, do not see my own things that I need to work on.
Yeah.
She'll still in sessions tell me stuff that I'm just like blown away by, because it's just like, oh yeah.
And then you start to see it in your tasks, in your week, through other people.
Yeah.
And it just clicks and it makes sense. And that change in your mind has happened.
Yeah.
And you're ready to grow from it.
Yeah.
And I think coaching can be really subtle, because like we said, if we look back to where I first was, forget you, where I first was.
No, we both,
If I was to list the benefits, like I said, I need another session, because it's so subtly done, yet it does take you out of your comfort zone. It does make you think differently. Yeah. It makes you look at things differently. You're different with your children. You're different, and you can't always pinpoint why. And you personally, I think every human being on the planet should have a coach. I think no matter where you are in your life, you can not always see your blind spots.
Yeah.
And I think for somebody to help you to grow and to push you out of your comfort zone, how many times does our coach, like, oh my God, like, comfort zone? I don't think.
I don't know what that is anymore.
Yeah. I'm going to go back.
So much.
Yeah. Like, I remember saying to you, like, we had this conversation this morning, like, you were doing, when we were at the hotel, when we went on our training, and you were doing a live.
Hilarious story.
I was cringing. I was absolutely cringing. I was thinking, what is she doing? How is she doing it?
Yeah.
And you were like chilling, and I was like, what is she doing? Like, my palms were sweating, you know.
You weren't even doing the live.
And I wasn't even doing the live. But that wasn't the issue with me. Does that make sense? Externally, for me, that was it. That became my barrier. I can't do this because I can't do that. I can't do lives, and I'm not going to do them. What did I say to you this morning? Like,
you find them easier than writing posts.
I prefer lives over posts. Yeah. And I love writing.
Yeah.
But I prefer lives over posts.
Wow.
And even when I said it to you, I was like, but we haven't combated the doing the live.
Yeah.
It's all the internal stuff that's inside it, that's behind it, that's being dealt with. Does that make sense? Like,
100%.
It deals with the core of the issue. Coaching deals with the core of the issue.
Yeah.
And I think, to put it in a nutshell, that's what it is. You get to the root of it, which then enhances you in every other area of life.
Yeah. That's a fantastic way to put it.
I think that sums it up really well.
Yeah, it does.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah, you go.
Where do you get to after 12 weeks? Because a lot of the programs are initially for 12 weeks, which is what the most minimum programs are for.
Yeah.
Where are you at the end of 12 weeks? Where is the person at the end of 12 weeks? What can they expect?
Wow, that's a big question. Okay, so there's usually point A, which is where you are right now. Okay, there will be in your mind a point B, like when often you are working with a coach, they'll often ask you what your goals are, and they'll take a look at your goals and see if that's something that they can work with you to help you achieve. But then what you actually do is get to point C, which is usually far surpassing your goal. And this is, I'm talking about people who commit to showing up for sessions, doing their tasking, ride the rough waves, because it's not an easy ride sometimes, but actually just kind of like have that blind trust of like, okay, she knows what she's doing and I'm just going to go with it. But it's really about getting you to where you want to be. But where you end up being is usually far surpassing that. You get to point C, which you didn't even imagine, because point B was enough for you, but you actually end up going that little bit further. It's like you said with the lives. It wasn't even about the lives. It was about something else completely. And when you got to the root cause, lives, you're doing lives every day. We have to stop you doing lives at the moment. we doing lives, you've got a podcast, you've got posts, you're on Instagram, like you are everywhere, because it wasn't about the going live, it was about something much more deeper rooted.
Yeah.
But you also end up with this amazing toolbox of stuff that you can use.
Yeah.
It's lifelong, and I think that is probably one of the most amazing things. Is one of the things that I started doing in my first session. I do it every twice a week now, all the time.
You're not paying for the 12 sessions.
No.
You're not paying for just the hour that you spend, or if it goes over, if you're in a middle of a session, then it goes over.
Yeah.
But you're not just paying for that. And I think that brings us nicely on to the next question of why does it seem like it's so expensive?
Yeah. Oh, I have this question a lot.
If you really look at what you're paying for, if you really look at how much of an impact it has in any job, you're not really paid for. A teacher's not just paid for the 6 hours she stands in front of the class.
Mm-hmm.
And coaching, similar, every career is similar.
Mm-hmm.
That you pay for your life-changing experience, number one.
Right.
The impact it has on your family.
Yeah.
The changes it makes in your life. That session that you have, the accessibility that you have to your coach through the week, or 2 weekly sessions, however long you're having them.
Yeah.
The expertise that the coach has, the training that she's done, if you put that all into perspective and really look at, like you said, it doesn't help you up until the end session.
Yeah.
It's life-changing. It changes your life if you use it correctly. I always say to my clients, if you go to the doctors with an ear infection, and they give you amoxicillin, he's done his job.
Mm-hmm.
He's done what he needed to do. Now, if you come home and put that amoxicillin in the fridge, that's not going to make your ear better.
No.
You have to take it 3 times a day, 4 times a day before bed, whatever the instructions are, according to the instructions he's given you.
Yeah.
Take it for 3 days.
Can I just say, yeah, exactly. I was just going to say the scientific part of that is, even if you take it for less than the amount of time that you're supposed to take it
work.
It won't work.
Yeah.
Won't do the job.
So take it for 3 days.
Yeah.
Your ear infection will either disappear for that little amount of time, but come back 10 times harder.
Yeah.
Coaching's the same.
Yeah.
Use the tools that are given to you, that we have spent years learning about.
Yeah.
and you've got them for life.
Yeah.
Your tasking is sent to you. So when you come up with I do it now. Like when I have an issue, I look back at, I've printed all my tasks off and keep them in like a folder now.
Yeah.
But I look and I think, okay, what do I need to do in order to deal with this? So it's like having your own encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And you're paying for all of that. You're not just paying for that hour.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, if the wheel of life is 9 or 11 things,
mm-hmm.
You're paying for every area of those.
Yeah.
You change your life. Literally, if you stick to it, it's life-changing. And obviously I work with parents and children. What price can a person really put on? You've had experiences with your son. At that time, when you're going through that pain, seeing your child go through certain things, what price do you put on it changing? And not just changing temporarily. The skills you've now taught him, they're his lifelong skills.
Yeah.
What price do you put on that? What impact that has on 7 generations of healing? Heal yourself, you heal the next 7 generations. What price do you really put on that? And like we were saying earlier, where do we spend our money?
Oh God, yeah.
And we've both been there, where actually the result of what we could have with it could be very different.
Yeah.
And working with children and parents, I don't think, like, I always say, like, they're our future generation. And the issues and troubles and traumas that they have from such a young age, if we heal ourselves, they will automatically heal. If we heal them, the home becomes a different home. So really, what price do you put on that?
And this is what I feel passionate
we've
about.
Been on this journey too.
Yeah.
Of it's so expensive, it costs a lot.
Oh yeah.
At the beginning of our coaching, we were the same.
Yeah.
But really, look back now. And we still have coaches till this day. We both still have a coach. Not necessarily maybe as much as we needed then, but when we need one and when we need a session, or when she thinks that, we need a breakthrough, it's there. Yeah. What price do you put on saving your marriage, or helping your inner self, or healing your childhood, or healing your children, healing your future? What is the price of that?
It's a good question. I'll leave it. Is it the price of a Louis Vuitton bag, or price of Louboutins? Tell me. That's what people will spend their money on.
Again, it's mindset as well.
Yeah.
For me now, looking back,
it's
mindset.
Yeah.
It's what is our worth?
Yeah.
As women, what is our worth?
Yeah. Why are we so quick to spend on clothes, jewelry, makeup?
That externally make us feel good, and there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
However, if you can afford that, then self-development is priceless.
Yeah. It's like you were saying earlier, we just need to become more resourceful. And again, both of you and I've had experience of this. So the nice thing about this conversation is that Isma and I have both been on the flip side. We've been clients. We're not just coaches. We've been the clients. We've been the, oh my God, this is so expensive. Oh my God, where am I going to find the money from?
Oh my God, she's put her prices up.
Yeah, she's put her prices up. That's happened. Yeah. So when people say that, like, that's the thing, there's no judgment. I do actually go, yeah, like, and there's no judgment, because I've been there. I know what that's like. I know what that feels like. Yeah. I know the shock of it. I know the, oh my God, where am I going to find the extra whatever amount of money? But it's about becoming resourceful, and that's another thing coaching gives you. It helps you become so resourceful. So
massively. And think so differently.
Yeah.
And reflect so differently.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I had.
Let's have a look if there's any questions.
Is there any questions on the group?
No, none at all. Apart from the modalities, but that would be a whole nother session.
Yeah, I think that's a different, yeah. And I think with the whole journey of coaching, it's not there to tell you what to do. We're not there to tell you what we think you should do or what we think you should become. It is the change within the mind that creates those changes automatically.
Yeah.
And it creates changes in everything and everyone around you. You will see your whole life differently.
Is it called neuroplasticity, isn't it? It just stretches your thinking, and then and it changes on a neurological level. So this is actually scientifically all proven that this will change you on a biological level, which will then help change you on a physical.
It's not just for the sessions that you have, and it's not just for the 12 weeks, and it's not just for, it's literally lifelong. If you use it correctly, like anything else, it's lifelong.
Yeah, and if you're focused on that,
Inshallah.
But yeah, so can we just end with, I know we've mentioned this briefly, but can we just end with who this impacts? So as you've mentioned who you felt it impacted in your life, but who are the biggest, who does it impact the most? What's the most benefit that you've seen in your coaching?
I think the person themselves.
Yeah.
Their thinking, their mindset, the way they look at things, their relationships with their children have, and I think that's the most immediate impact I usually see is the relationship that person becomes and has with their children.
Mm-hmm.
And the love that is built between them, and they come to me at a point where they don't understand their children, they don't know what to do with them, they've had enough of them, and through their journey of change, their whole relationship with their children transforms. And that doesn't just impact them, like on an emotional level it impacts them, but on every other level it also impacts the child. To have a better relationship with his parents, to be able to be open on both sides and have that relationship, it impacts everybody around you.
Literally everyone that you'll come in contact with,
your work colleagues, everybody.
I mean, I told you of the client that had road rage, right? Road rage, and literally it's impacted because they would literally get in a fight all the time on the road, because of like being able to let go of what the root cause was of that, of somebody cutting them up. It's literally impacted so many people. Just getting on the road and just literally getting in a fight with a total stranger. How many people it's impacted their friends, their, again, their direct family, their in-laws, their children. There's so much, like it's
and that's not just the physical impact. That's the emotional impact of whoever was around that person when it was happening. And that's just one example. I have children coming to me with anger issues, with addictions, and you just, the impact of it is phenomenal. Because when you understand one area of your life, you will automatically want to work on the others. And I think that's the beauty of coaching. It clears your blind spots. It
really does bring out the best in you.
Trust me. Amazing. It's amazing. On that note,
thank you very much for being our guest in the group, and we'll be sharing this in your group as well, and this will be going live on the podcast tomorrow. So thank you so much, and I shall catch you soon. Take care, guys.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
Alaikum.
Bye. Walaikum salam.